Cheers.
Welcome to Talkin Scotch, John.
Cheers.
First or second guest, depending on when we're going to post which clip. What were you boys just saying about how you met?
So John and I met at the local.
The local, yeah. Freak show. I played around, got off stage, and Chris was hanging out at the bar. And he was like, "Yeah, I like your stuff, man. We should write together."
the typical Nashville, like,
that's how
hey,
most
man,
relationships develop.
let's write.
We should write together.
Let's write sometime.
Write.
Have you seen the t-shirts that are like, let's write together?
Yeah.
I don't know who did them.
Probably Nicky T or someone.
Probably.
Fucking let's write together. How many times have you boys missed fucking rounds because you've said, yeah, let's write together sometime, and then both of you forget to put it in your calendar and someone says, oh, were we meant to write on Wednesday?
At the start it was probably pretty bad, you know.
Yeah.
But we kind of got into town at a similar time, so
Yeah.
I feel like you and I kind of went through a bit of the wars together, you know,
Yeah.
like.
We've had the same kind of like, you know, downtime and stuff like that. Like I remember like last January we were talking to each other and it's just like, yeah, I got a lot of people canceling on me. And I was like, yeah, I got a lot of people canceling on me too. And I think it's cold weather or whatever, you know. But I don't know. That speaks to our, you know, work ethic and everything.
Yeah.
We just kept on it, you know.
we wanted to keep going. With
fucking 900 songs in 45 days together.
Yeah.
And then some bad ones.
Yeah, our first write was with Ryan Garrett, actually.
Oh, Ryan Garrett. Shout out.
It was actually, yeah.
It was a great write too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was that song called again?
Tears Over Tennessee.
Tears Over Tennessee, yeah.
God
Still
damn.
a great song.
Yeah.
Still one of my favorite writes I've had, yeah.
Didn't make the 36 song Wallen cut, but
Yeah.
it was optioned.
Didn't make it on that, but
There's always the next 55 song fucking album.
trying to get on that triple album coming out next year, you know.
Why are they making them so long now? Like, seriously?
I don't know. It's really intimidating, though. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, I've
It's
got
making it complicated as hell.
I've got 2 good songs and 45 bad ones. I might
was
just
thinking
release
about,
a
like,
50 song album.
Yeah, I like, should I put out a 4-song or 6-song EP? And then more, like, everybody's
multiply
putting
that
out,
by
like,
12.
24, 36 songs. It's just like, Jesus.
I heard a rumor that he's like potentially taking up his contract. So like an album for a record label is 12 songs.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's true or what the fuck is happening, but
I heard that rumor too, and I heard it from Chris.
Yeah.
If I'm drunk, there's probably some drivel coming out there. But I did hear that from someone else. But I don't know. I mean, it would make sense, but I can't really see why he would want out of that. He's getting everything he fucking wants, you know?
Well, the funny thing about it is that, like, even if that is the case, he's still writing like 36 good songs and a handful of like great songs on that album. So if he's trying to get out of a deal, he's doing it in a stand-up way. I'll tell you what. Yeah. You know.
But I don't know. I reckon he's just outgrown like everyone in the industry. Like he's got more. Was it more songs on the top Billboard
every one of those
100
songs
than like Drake and like Rihanna and SZA?
Setting records, man.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I went to see him at the Bridgestone when he did the Nashville thing, and I mean, I like him. I would consider myself a fan, but I didn't wait in the line, the chaos down at. For the free tickets, but I got there and it was literally, I think I said this in the last podcast too, but it was like something from Elvis. Like obviously I wasn't alive when Elvis was there, but you're stood there and me and my buddy Cole, our friend, and we were like, me and him kept looking at each other going, man, this is pretty cool.
I remember probably the day after that you were talking to me about it, and you're like, after every song you and Cole would look at each other and just be like you wouldn't have much to say, you just nod at each other. Yeah. And it was like that kind of feeling of like, something's happening here.
You just felt part of something. And I think that's hard to find nowadays just because there's so many different opinions in the world and stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's like the divide between, you know, everyone's just putting out singles just now.
Yeah.
It's the divide between like, well, why don't you put out an album? And if all the songs are good enough to be singles, then the album's still going to do well, as opposed to like, well, let me just put out all of my album songs as singles and like, I'll start with the best one and then just release them one by one until we get to the shittiest song on my album. Like, you're like, out of all of them, I've got streams at this point, so it's fine.
The hardest thing I've found with like putting out even like a 6-song EP, and I've done an album before, is having, of course, when people play the album, you're going to get the first couple of songs, and a lot of people don't listen to the whole album, you know, so a lot of people have been saving your best songs for later on in the album, or you pick your placement of these songs so like you spend so much time figuring out the track list and where you want them to be, and then 60% of your audience, maybe more, I don't know the stats, probably don't even get down to the last song.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing about like somebody like Morgan kind of treads that line really well, because he's got the singles to draw everybody's attention, because most people now, like most of the audience now, is like they just want to hear the singles.
Yeah.
But he's still got an album for the true followers, basically.
Yeah.
And the people that are listening to the album, like I've listened to all 36 songs probably 4 or 5 times over.
36 times.
Yeah, 36 times. And that's because like I believe in what he's doing, and I appreciate what he's doing as a songwriter, and but there's a lot of artists out there that are just doing like one single every few months.
Yeah.
And I mean that works for some people, but it's pretty impressive to be able to do both. So he's got those singles like Last Night, Thought You Should Know, stuff like that. But he's also got an album worth of like good songs and like good songwriting songs. A lot of those with his buddies, like Hardy and Ernest and people like that.
Yeah.
And then some of those like, I think some of my favorite songs on the album are Me to Me. I think F-150 was
50.
Yeah. I think that was co-written by some guys that like Morgan wasn't even a part of that, right?
Yeah.
So he's got plenty of songs on that too, that he's looking at guys that they've got songs that are in his style, that still line up with what he's doing, and that's really cool to see that,
And he also put his singles in the album in like very strategic places, so that like if you liked Thought You Should Know, and that's, I don't know where it is in the album, but let's say it's number 18, then you might just accidentally keep it playing and you end up listening to 19, 20 and 21, and then
that's a part of it, man.
One thing at a time is number 25, and like he's kind of like separated them, like every 6 songs one of the singles is on, so if you look for the single, even if you only like one of them, you'll end up accidentally hearing the rest of the album.
Right.
It's really smart.
Yeah, I think that's been such a thought through record, and I think back to what you were saying, John, like about Hardy, Ernest, all the guys that he's been writing with, and the people that he's just taking outside cuts from. I think that's really motivational for writers like ourselves, or working our way up in the industry. That's such a cool thing for me, and we've met all those kind of people, like Ernest and these guys that hang around Midtown, and it's so cool to see that there's opportunities out there for other writers.
Yeah,
it is really cool. I think that album specifically to me spoke to like the Nashville scene, because like all the songs that I connect to, I look at the song credits and see who's writing on them and everything, and it's really cool that he's still like cutting songs he's written with his guys that he's been around with for a while now. And that really speaks to the songwriting culture of Nashville. And you don't really see that in like any genre of music outside of Nashville, I feel like, and like outside of country, And the other thing I saw with that album was when he put out that sampler, every song in that sampler was 4 songs. They were all very different in sound. Yeah. Like Last Night's very pop. Everything I Love is very like Texas country kind of.
Sure, yeah.
Like everything was a little bit different, and then he puts out the album, and in the album he's experimenting with a lot of different sounds. And one of the things about Morgan is like you can put him across, kind of every genre of sound, and he like his voice still fits. Like you were talking about that a lot the other night. And it's like that's really cool to see, and I feel like that's one of the things he was really trying to reach with that album. Yeah. Because when he put that sampler out, it was 4 songs, but it was 4 songs in completely different, atmospheres. Like that was really cool.
I know. I think that drew so many more people into the record, because obviously you're going to have his diehard fans, and there's a lot of them. But there's also those people that are like, oh, he's kind of doing that. I'm not going to compare it to the 1975, but One Thing at a Time is quite like that band, kind of pop.
Yeah.
I don't really know how to describe
electric
pop.
guitar, almost like John Mayerish as well at some point. Yeah.
And I remember I heard it, and my buddy Cole and our buddy is like, we always just listen to Wallen when we're driving around in his truck or whatever. And I remember I called him like a week after the sampler came out, and I said, what kind of direction is this record going to go in? And he said, I've got no clue. And I was like, I'm just really intrigued to see where it's going to go.
And that's the cool thing about it is like, I think I kind of had the same thought looking at that sampler, but the answer to that is like, it's going in every direction, because he's basically showing that like he can take on whatever sound he wants to and still fit, you know, to that with his voice and his, you know,
it's
his
even
swagger.
It's even like the R&B stuff that they're bringing into country. I think that's making country even more bigger than what it's ever been, maybe even, or at least bringing it back to how big it's ever been.
Yeah. Well, they've got like a fucking dance, like bass house version of Last Night.
Oh, they do already?
Yeah, and it slaps.
And people don't realize that, like,
it's fucking sick.
You get showered to it.
Last night, like, it's fucking great, man.
I'm a very like traditional country, like outlaw country kind of guy. Like that's the kind of stuff that I like. But even with that sort of thing, like you have to admit, like if you look at like a lot of '80s country and like guys like, you know, Conway Twitty and Whitley and like guys like that, the records they were releasing back then, like they were abiding to like the standard sound that was on the radio, you know, like country was kind of taking a certain swing to each decade as it went along. And especially 80s country, because that kind of like sticks out to me a lot. Like you heard a lot of instruments in 80s country that you wouldn't think that you would hear.
That you never hear again?
Yeah, and you would never hear again. Like we still haven't heard some shit from that.
I heard a sitar on a Whitley album.
Like people have been experimenting with you know.
Someone brought in a xylophone once. It went to number one and no one ever used it again.
Yeah. So I mean, it's not to say that like Morgan's like breaking away from, you know, traditional country or anything like that, but he's experimenting with different sounds and he's adapting to the era of music that we're in, and country's always done that, man.
Yeah, and I mean that started, I guess, with country like recently with like your Sam Hunt and those kind of guys that had like the pop drums, and then they used the trap drums, and then Wallen had Broadway girls.
Made it good.
And they made it better, right? Exactly.
Hey, I do enjoy a Sam Hunt song, so I'll take that back.
I do enjoy a wee Sam Hunt song as well, but everything is pouring into like the same bucket, and for anyone to say that it's got to be a certain way is just kind of holding themselves back from enjoying another genre of music.
Totally.
And every artist feeds. There's like a concept that there's no new art, whether it's like music or painting or sport or anything, and it's just your individualism comes from taking from like 20 different people that you've seen before. So you're not going to do anything new, but your specific version of that is from everything that you've seen in the past, and you bring all of those together. And he's like kind of a hip hop country artist in a way, which has kind of been done before, but he did what he's good at, or what he was brought up with first in order to get a name for himself, and then brought that in, which I think is fucking cool. Yeah. And that's why I'm putting the bagpipes in my next song.
There you go. If you can bring bagpipes into modern country.
So you guys, I think we all have new music coming out at some point in the near future, don't we? Mm-hmm. So you've just been working on a new project, Callum, am I right?
A Tequila Therapy song.
Yeah. Tell us more about that.
That one's that's like the first song that I wrote in Nashville that I was like, I actually would listen to this. Everything else that I'd written before was fucking dog shit.
It was with me and John.
Do you want to cut this one? Maybe. No, I hadn't even met you guys yet when I wrote this one, but I did Monarch, the show, and all of that was cover stuff, and then I started writing country music, and it was just dog shit. It was so bad. And then I started writing songs like, if I was to rewrite if I was to rewrite a Luke Combs song, how would it sound? And if I was to rewrite even I worked with Trace Adkins, and I was like, if I was to rewrite a Trace Adkins songs from the 90s, how would that sound? So I started like taking little bits from each song, and then I was like, all right, well, let me look at what I listen to at the moment and what I do with my life. And at the time I was going through a breakup and drinking lots of tequila, and I was like, well, tequila's how I got over this fucking breakup. So I was like, let me write a song about how tequila has become my therapy. And I was sitting in here at this little fucking desk behind me, and I was like, I'm not very good at the guitar, I can play the guitar to sing along to, but I'm not like a big, like, you know, I can't riff or anything, or I can't make melodic guitar fucking riffs or anything. So I was like, right, what's a pretty basic chord structure? So I put that down and put it into Ableton, and then just started writing. Or I think I started with a chorus, and I don't know how the line came up, but I just thought, I'll find me some Tequila Therapy, and then it just went from there, and I just kept running on that, and I was like, well, what is Tequila Therapy? So then that's when I started building the verses, and then I got my only other friend that I'd met, Justin Love, who's a cool,
very good guy,
lovely guy. Shout out Justin,
dude in Nashville.
But I was like, listen, man, I think I've got something pretty cool here, and do you mind helping me finish it? And he kind of came in and made the guitar sound way better, and then there was like the bridge, and
he added a G7 or something.
He just played it the exact same way that I was supposed to be playing it. It sounded good. But he gave me a couple ideas of where to go. He did like a songwriting course back in Texas, so that was perfect. And then I started playing that around, and I was like, fuck, I've got to start actually writing. And then we got together. I wrote another couple of bad songs after that, and I was like, oh, it was maybe a one and done. And then we did More Tennessee, which is maybe a song.
That's a great song. I love that song.
It might be the next single. It will at least, if I do release an album or an EP, it'll at least be on that, but it could be the next single. But we've wrote another few good ones since then, so I'm not sure anymore. But
I know.
Yeah, just fucking put a song down, and
when's it come out?
3 months later, got it cut, got it produced, and it comes out. Probably by the time this podcast comes out, it's probably already out. So fucking stream that shit if you will. It's on all the platforms. But yeah, that's the old story behind Tequila Therapy. And just today, before we did the podcast, I did a little printed out a label for a tequila brand that doesn't exist.
Is that water in there, or is that actual tequila?
No, it's real
I think
tequila.
we should try it.
I think we should try it. You want to try some Tequila Therapy? Well, actually,
what are we drinking here? Is this scotch or is this whiskey? Like, what do we got?
So this is bourbon that we're drinking at the moment. But if you guys would indulge me, this is actually a well-known brand of tequila that I scratched the label off.
I'm pretty sure that's illegal, but we'll just pass on that.
I'll take it.
Ooh.
Is that Hergadurger? Was that Hergadurger?
Tequila. Here you go, boys.
Might be Hergadurger.
Hergadurger. Some Tequila Therapy.
Oh, man. All right. Well,
I'll put some hairs in your chest, John.
Cheers.
Can you name it?
Espolón.
Fucking spot on. He knows it's tequila. It's a fucking Espolón. So
Let's try this.
Just chip the Espolón off the ball. Hope they don't sue me, but we're not making money off it by selling it, so I think it's fine.
Sit that on that table. Thanks.
Oh yeah. Well, I'm just gonna sit with this for a minute.
Yeah. You can keep it. Just keep that label pointed at the screen if you will.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool, man. I can't wait to hear the project. It's been cool to see you kind of grow from when I met you into this like artist now, musical artist.
Winging it.
I mean, we all are winging it, I guess, to some extent. You know, I've done music for 13 years or 12 years or something. Now, I'm still young, but I did it like stupidly young and like didn't really know what I was doing at all. So only the last like 3 or 4 years have I really figured out my sound and where I want to go. But you know, it's nice to co-write. This is my second song that I'm cutting now that I co-wrote with someone else. So To the Moon and Back comes out, and I don't have a date yet. So I've got the final mix. I'm sending it to mastering soon. So.
That's one of my favourite songs. Like, outside of just being a pal of mine, like I fucking love that song. Thanks, yeah, I remember when I first met you, and then I saw you around. Was you guys wrote it together?
No,
not me.
No. I cut the last one I did, Strangers in the Bar. John and I wrote.
Oh yeah, that's a good one as well. Yeah. But yeah, To the Moon and Back is fucking tremendous, man. Yeah. We were down in Panama with Brock, another one of our pals, and if anyone at any point would be like, I love you, man, I'd be like, I love you to the moon and back.
Mate, that's the content.
There goes her tail right.
That's the content that we've got to get going on TikTok. I love you, brother. I love you, babe. To the moon.
Yeah.
What a fucking, that's a great song. I'm glad you cut that one. To your credit,
next. Very catchy melody on that, man.
Thanks. I kind of winged that one, but I'm excited for it. So
I like that.
So what about you, John? You've been
right before we bang on. When does it come out?
I don't have a date yet, so I've got the it's sent to mastering. We've got the final mix, and then I don't know. I think before the summer, we're just going to see what's happening.
Cool.
But I'm excited for it. But John, you've been in town about the same length as me.
Yeah.
And you know, we've been, as I said, through the ups and downs and through the ringer with the industry.
A lot of ups and downs.
And you know, I feel like both of us have completely changed as individuals in terms of sound, in terms of music, in terms of personality and mental health and all that jazz. But
especially mental health.
you've finally got music coming out as well, I hear.
Yeah, I've been working on it for a while. I'm working on my first single. Just finished vocals the other day. I don't have a release date or anything like that yet, but probably aiming for May. And kind of like what you were talking about, man, with Justin, dude. Like, this was one of my first, I think it might have been my first co-write in Nashville, was with Henry Gates. And he's been a good buddy of mine for a long time. And we've written a couple songs, but crazy enough, man, like, we got lucky on that first one. It just happened to be, like, it wasn't just, like, a great song, but I remember we wrote it, and I kind of sidelined it a little bit because I couldn't really on that chorus, like, you hit like a really low note.
What song? Ghost Town?
Ghost Town in the Sky.
That was one of your first writes in town.
Yeah, so that's probably going to be my first. That's going to be my first single.
That's a fucking.
We're aiming
great song.
for May on that, but I remember, like, when we wrote that, I couldn't really hit that low note on it, and I don't know, it's a song for me, like, it speaks to my evolution as an artist and as a songwriter, because I wasn't very good when I started. I really only started doing music like 2 years ago. Yeah. 2.5 years ago or whatever. And that was one of my first co-writes. And I remember I was I was hanging out with Ron Garrett and Carson Byer and some other folks we were sitting in the garage one night, and I pulled out that song probably about 6 months after I'd written it with Henry, and I played it, and Ryan was like, "Man, that's your best song." I was like, "Really?" And so I started playing a little bit more, and I got a little bit more used to it, and a few months later I started to kind of, like, really, you know, figure out how to sing the song, and strangely enough, like, it became like the song that kind of defined me as an artist. You know, and like, that song means so much to me now, like, lyrically, but also vocally. Once I learned it, like, how I wanted to sing that low note, like, that actually kind of defined my sound as a songwriter and as a vocalist.
Totally, man. Like, see, when I obviously we've known each other for a while, but when that was the song for me that I remember. I would go and watch you play, and there would be people turn around, and when you'd hit that note and be like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, "That's so cool," and I knew you'd found that kind of sound that you'd been really looking for when we'd first started hanging out.
And it took me like a year to figure that out. It's crazy, man. Like, that sound, like, taught me how to sing. In some weird ways. Like, I went through some shit in, like, later that year that got me kind of angry, and, like, I was in a pretty bad space, and when I would go out and sing, I'd kind of sing a little bit angry. And when I first started singing that song, I was trying to imitate Johnny Cash a lot, and, like, you know, and I couldn't do it because it was Johnny Cash. But once I got a little angry and got fucked over by some people, I kind of found that sound, and it just kind of came out of me, and I was like, man, this feels right, you know. And that, it's weird how sometimes, like, you write a song early on in your career and you're still trying to figure out your sound, and then that song kind of helps you progress as an artist and as a vocalist and that sort of thing. And, like, it's weird, man. Songs are weird things, dude. Like, there's a spiritual, you know, emotional kind of go on. Entity that's, like, connected to that, and, like, sometimes a song will teach you how to sing it.
I think back to your point about your first writes, that you're cutting your first write, your first write. I wrote that song "Perfect Storm" with Dan Hudson and Justin Dukes, Jarrett Hartness, and I kind of got, like, invited last minute. They were like, "Do you want to come in and do it?" Kind of, I think they felt sorry for me, and we wrote an absolute smash. And I don't know why I haven't cut that, but I think I might at some point.
It's a great song. I remember that.
But I've got I've got the Matthew. can't remember the Bible verse right now. I'm a bit drunk, but I've got that tattooed on my hand, and it says, "When 2 or 3 of you gather in my name, there I am with you."
Yeah.
And I remember, I'm religious to some extent, but I don't go to church or anything. But I remember when I heard that again, I was like, wait, I just heard that from a songwriter's point of view. So when 2 or 3 of you gather in my name, so 2 or 3 of us, let's say tonight after we record this, we sit down with our guitars and start writing. Every now and then, you might be going through a fucking terrible streak of writing songs. You're going, I've not got it anymore. I don't think writer's block's really a thing as a writer, as a songwriter. I think you just go through stages of like, I'm really kind of crap at the moment.
Less inspiration,
Exactly. And then all of a sudden, there's those magic moments, and you feel it. You do feel it in the room at the time.
Yeah.
And that's one thing, just being in Nashville for a while, that's the drug that keeps me going.
Yeah.
And of course, there's days when we all wake up and we're like, I don't have a fucking clue what I'm doing here. Like, you know, I've done the X, Y, and Z, but my end goal could be 10 years away, could be 5 years away, could be next week, but you just don't really know how to get there yet.
Yeah.
But I think there's that magicalness of, maybe it's God, maybe it's just an energy in the room, maybe it's just something of 3 talented folks coming together, but something happens. And
well, I mean, there's a good point there, man. I mean, you know, I grew up very religious and grew up in a Christian background and everything, and I kind of drifted away from that, and still I'm on the outskirts of that. But there's something about like when you get together with other people in fellowship and community, and that's the great thing about music. You know, like that's a big part of music. That's why I came into music, was because of the community and the fellowship.
Yeah.
You know? And you get in a room with like, you know, 2 or 3 other people, and you start talking about your feelings, and
which we don't do as guys a lot of the time.
Exactly. Like the most I probably talk about like how I actually feel is in the writing room.
Yeah.
Strangely enough.
You ever had John crying to you yet?
Yeah.
That's still to come, Cal.
the number of times I bawled.
Only at 2 a.m. in the morning. There's no guitars around. We're not writing any music. We're just going.
A couple of fiddles.
A couple of tiny fiddles in the background. But yeah, man, I mean, it's like, that's a really special thing about music. And that's really why I kind of sold my soul to it, was because like I saw the potential to, you know, connect with other people.
Yeah.
And it took me, like, I'm 33 years old now. It took me probably till I was about 30 years old to realize that people are the most important thing in the world.
Yeah.
You know, and like forget everything else, forget making money and all these other things. Like those things are important, but the best thing that you could have is like developing relationships and developing a community and being a part of something like that. And Nashville is like intoxicating in that way. Like there's so much community here. There's so many people that want to support you. And when you get into a room with people, like my favorite thing is, you know, let's not try to write a song for the first hour. Let's just hang out and just talk and chill, you know. Maybe we crack a beer, maybe we have a cup of coffee or something like that. Maybe we go down the street and just have lunch.
Yeah.
You know, and we get to know each other a little bit, especially when it's your first time writing with somebody. But like that's the best thing about it. And music is just conducive to that. Like it just makes you get into a room with people and get to know each other.
It's all about an energy for me, and that it took me a while, just in my short time being here, to realize that. And I think what I see now is, I think we've all kind of found the people that we like to write with, but now you can kind of gauge if there's a kind of new guy or someone that you've been introduced to, that's someone that's like, you should write with this guy. If you just talk to them that first time, I can kind of feel the energy if they've got it or they've not, just for the same, if it matches my energy in a room.
And it's not necessarily like, you know, you might get into a room with somebody who's writing hits right now. They're just on a roll, but you don't have any chemistry.
No, totally.
You know? And
totally.
that just happens.
Yeah.
Like we've got friends that, like, all 3 of us have got people that we don't that we love. You know, I consider family, and it's not that I don't think they're talented. It's just that we don't have an energy, or we did have an energy, and energies change and things like that. That's just part of music, I think.
And that's a part of like figuring yourself out as a songwriter too, I think, is like, for me personally, like I like to have somebody in the room that talks a lot. It's always like spitting out ideas.
Me and Ryan Garrett is a nightmare.
Oh yeah. No, Ryan's great because he's just always like talking shit, which is great. I love that because I'm like, I'll sit there and just kind of strum the you know, the chord progression on my guitar and like talk to myself in my head, and I'll, you know. But it's good when I'm writing with somebody who's like spitting out stuff every you know 5 seconds, and then for other people it's the opposite, you know.
They
so
need
it's
the quiet.
Yeah. So I mean, I've even heard of like people writing together and they'll go in separate rooms.
Yeah,
You know, just take like 20 minutes
Yeah.
to sit down and see what they come up with and come back. You know, so
Yeah.
you never know. It's all about like figuring out like what's the perfect chemistry for you.
Yeah.
And who works best for you. And I mean, you might sit down with somebody and maybe it's not the best connection there, but what if you add this piece, you know, or like what if we add this guy, you know, and it, like if you add that, you know, other exponent, it works.
Yeah,
you know?
I found that we went down on a writer's retreat in Panama. You guys, I think, were going at some point, and then you had something come up or whatever.
Yeah,
but
well,
you
all the stories you told
said
me, all the stories you told me
going.
from that, I regret not going.
Oh my god, fucking!
It looked a good time.
Tremendous fun. But
how many songs did you write?
I think 6 songs in 5 days.
That's awesome.
Which isn't
That's
like
brilliant.
mental.
Yeah.
It's not like, it wasn't like a boot camp. It was like we just woke
had
up
fun.
and if someone caught a vibe, everyone would join on. And the first day we split into 2 groups and like we tried to do it like it was more of a boot camp. The best songs came when all 5 of us were just sitting around the table, and we had some really good guys that are just songwriters and they don't want to be artists, and then we had some guys that were like full-on artists and actually don't really write songs for anyone else other than themselves. And I had to find, like, I think the best rooms are when everyone finds the role for themselves. And I think the coolest thing to be is a little bit versatile in that moment. Like if you're the louder one, but there is a louder one in the room, not to like fight against that,
Settle
to
down,
pull back and actually be like, all right, well maybe. So for example, like me and Brock have written well together in the past because he comes out with like random ideas because he's got like a really artistic mind, and he will like try things. And a lot of people would be scared to try those things. And I'll be like, that's a good idea. Expand on that. Like, where could that go? And then we end up getting to the place because he's just willing to, like, push everything out. Whereas there's, like, other people that I've written with that, like, wouldn't be willing to sing something out loud if they don't have the perfect idea down already.
Yeah.
And I quite like playing... I like that almost, like, editor role sometimes. It's similar to you, like when someone's like just pushing ideas and you go, it's not quite working, but it's not because you're bad or because you've got bad ideas, it's just because that one isn't exactly what I know would fit the song. But as soon as, and we've both written, have you written with Brock before?
Yeah,
we've all written with Brock before.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Worst guy I've ever seen in the room. But Brock will come up with like idea, and then idea, and that's the one that clicks.
Right,
and he's the one that when the room is silent, he'll keep pushing out ideas, and actually like
I love it. But I love that.
Yeah,
I respect
and so like
that
you got to
so
understand that like sometimes you need people like that. Like I realize that like I'm not the guy. If the room is quiet, I'm probably not going to throw it out there. You know, and it's not necessarily because I'm afraid of it. It's just I don't think as fast as some other people.
I'm the same.
And some people have like such quick minds. When you sit down with them, they're just throwing out ideas left and right. You know, but you need those kind of people, and those kind of people need you to be like, no, that's not the best
so they
idea.
don't finish a song in 14 minutes,
or at least to like process the whole thing. You know, that's the thing, because their minds are going at like 100 miles an hour.
Yeah,
and having the other role is someone that can, as you say, not an editor role, but someone that kind of processes it all, you know, internalizes it before, and then spits out, okay, that was good, why don't we try this and that?
Yeah,
and
I'm a big believer in like making a skeleton for a song before you start writing it. And if you build that skeleton and this guy's over here just like spitting out ideas left and right, that's great. But then like you might be the guy that's like, okay, that's awesome. Does it fit into the skeleton of the song? You know?
Yeah. We've written some of our best songs that way, where we've got so because I come from the acting background, I like to know the script before, and for me it's just like I know the story, whether it's personal to me or not, I can put something in there that is everything is like a mirror of like that tagline or the chorus or whatever.
Right.
Whereas like I mean, another friend of ours, Cole, hope both Brock and Cole are listening, but Cole is like, and he would agree with me when I'm saying this, he just wants to sit in the room and catch a vibe and like start singing, and like I respect that so much. I wish I could be that guy, but like if I want to write a song, I want to know what it's kind of going to be about before I sit down and write it. I'd rather write the story and have the like tagline in the middle before.
Yeah. Well, our last write was what's Hits the Spot.
Yeah.
That Nathan Maravich guy that wrote it with us. He's cutting it, I think, in Memorial Day. But you text me that idea. And I instantly, I think you just sent me the title, and I was like, I know, I just knew kind of where you were going with it for some weird reason. And I said, I love that. And I shot you back some random things. You said it's a love song about loving your woman, or how much you love her. And I said, oh, it's better, all these things in life hit the spot, but nothing's, and I think I sent you 3 or 4 things in life that, you have a cold beer after a hard day's work, and you're like, oh, I hit the spot. And I sent him 3 or 4 examples, and you sent me 3 or 4 back.
Yeah.
And then we had basically all the verse content, and then we just kind of really needed to be together to get a vibe for the chorus.
Yeah.
And that's still one of my favorite writes of this year.
Yeah, same. And I think what was cool was that we already had, like what you were saying, we already had the skeleton of it. Exactly. But not only that, we had like lines that were writing themselves because we'd already thought it out. Instead of sitting in the room being like, because I've been in a lot of writes actually where songs have ended up being like pretty good, but where we've still been sitting there for like an hour going like, well, where is our guy, or where is the narrator during the first chorus, and then where does it go in the second chorus? We were just like, if nothing else hits the spot like a relationship, we talk about during the verses things that hit the spot, but it's not.
Yeah.
And then all we have to do is write a big chorus for it. We were like, we already know where we stand. And then there was a line, I think it was actually Nathan's line. He said, like you're I can't remember what exactly he said, but it was something like, you're not like a cold beer can or something like that. And we almost put that in the chorus, and then we were like, oh, but we can't really say to a girl, you're not as good as a cold beer, because they're going to be like, well, yeah. Sorry, was there a potential like fucking rivalry between me and a cold beer?
The cold beer comes first.
But then we took the idea and put it in the bridge, like in the room, and I think we wrote that in like 2.5, 3 hours.
It was pretty quick. I think we just wanted to make sure it was good because there was a good energy there for sure.
Yeah.
So, as I said, one of my favorites.
Well, I think I've not really seen this as much with co-writing, but I do a lot of solo writing, and I've noticed that like sometimes I'll sit down and like some of my favorite songs are songs that I'll get back from the gym, and I'll sit down. I got an idea in my head, and I'll write a song in like 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Like an entire song, and like. I love that, and it's great, but like that happens very rarely, especially when you're co-writing. Like that doesn't really happen a whole lot. Like I've had some songs that I've co-written that maybe we finished in like 30 minutes, maybe an hour or something. I've done that. But even that's like,
I think I've done 45 minutes is my quickest one.
Yeah, that's tough to find though, and it's just like sometimes it's just the vibe in the room, and the connection that you have with another writer. Like we're talking about Ryan Garrett. Like me and him have had some quick writes. I remember
my quickest writes were with Ryan.
Yeah,
well, you guys are just trying to get to fucking Red Door. Yeah, for a pint.
Well, the part of that is like I remember one time he texted me. We had a write set up at this one studio, and he texted me in the morning. He was like, "Man, I had some shit go down," and he texted me a couple details. And I was thinking on it, and we got together that afternoon, probably about 11 a.m. And we were texting back. We were
in the afternoon.
He's shotgunning twisties.
That was an early
11 a.m. in the afternoon.
That was an early ride for Nashville. But we were texting people we're texting each other like 9 a.m. And we get together and we write this song in like probably about 30, 40 minutes. And there was a third person in the room that didn't really do a whole lot. But we wrote this song real quick, And it was just one of those things where like he was spitting stuff out, and I just understood where he was trying to go with it.
Yeah.
And you know, we're good friends and that sort of thing. So like when you have that kind of connection with each other, it's a lot easier, you know.
Yeah.
But
it takes the bullshit off the top of like,
yeah.
Are you trying to be an artist? Are you trying to sell this song? It's like,
Right.
I hate that.
Let's just write a song where we're like talking about something that one of us is going through.
So one of my, I have probably 2 co-writes that I would ever cut right now. And one of them is the one I was talking about, Ghost Down in the Sky, which was, I got lucky on that one, my first co-write with Henry Gates. The other one was Brock.
Oh, yeah.
And Gabe Broussard. And I walked into the room. I never try to write for me because, like I said, like most of my stuff I write solo. And I walked into the room. I had a new guitar that I had gotten because my last one got stolen. And Gabe was like, is that your new Gibson? I was like, yeah. So I handed it over to him. And he starts playing this kind of Western thing. And me and Brock are bullshitting and or whatever. And I was like, man, I kind of like that little riff you got there. And so we start, you know, messing around with it. And by the chorus, I was like, I want to cut this song. And I actually had a second write that day with you.
You canceled on me, didn't you?
No, I didn't cancel. I made it. I still made it. But I literally told, I think it was you and Carson. I can't remember. But I had a second write with that day with you. And we were making such headway on that. And we got to a point where, like, I think we got, like, halfway through a second verse. And they were like, well, I know you got to go at, like, 3. And I was like, well, fuck that.
I'm glad you did, though. Please, I'm very
I was like,
glad
I
you
want to
did.
finish this song. Like, I would cut this song. And I never get into a room where we're writing, like, and we were just writing a song to write a good song. We weren't thinking about who in the room would cut it.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like the mentality.
What artist would cut it, or what record label would fucking pitch it, or like you're just writing a fucking song.
That's so cool, man. I think that's one thing for me that started to kind of get to me and piss me off a wee bit in Nashville is that people are like, so are you cutting, or like, or who are we writing for? And I'm like, I get it to some extent, because a lot of our rights right now, or at least for me right now, are independent, right? You know, I still do write with publishers, of course I do, but like, I'm like, who gives a fuck? Like who cares? Like, just write. Let's just write music.
Yeah. That's when the best stuff comes out, man.
If it turns out in my vein, or it comes out in Callum's vein, or comes out in a more of John's vein, who cares? Like, you know. And I think when you try and put pressure on it too much, it's either you're forcing it and the write doesn't work, or I don't know, you don't even finish it. You know. That's how. And I went through a phase of like, I don't know, a month of maybe only finishing like half my writes. And when I first came to town, everyone used to be like, oh yeah, he's that guy. He's like forces the song to finish. I just wanted the song to be finished at the start. Yeah. I understand sometimes it takes a second go around, but now I'm like, if it's not working, it's just because we're forcing it.
See, I actually like the idea of forcing a song to be finished. Like, say you got half an hour left, let's write a second verse. As long as everyone treats it like there is going to be a second, right? Totally. Which I don't see a lot of, to be honest. Like, I think that people go, right, we've written a song, let's move on. Whereas, like, if you were to look at like a rapper's roster, and like hip hop music is just as big, if not bigger, than country music, and they'll write 10 verses for one verse, and they'll like send it around to their friends and be like, pick the best. What
slaps the most?
What slaps the most? And that's one thing that I've been like a little bit like not taken aback, not disappointed. I don't know what the term would be, but the one thing that I'm like, again, coming from a film background, I'm like, the first script of a movie is never the fucking script that makes the final cut. So like, let's write the song, and the hardest thing to do is create the first script. And then once you move away and once you come back to it, you can be like, oh yeah, that line is the one that needs to change, and there is always something else that you can put in there. But it's a shame that we have so many rights here sometimes that like people will never come back to, or you know, which is, again, I know. Go on.
I'm just agreeing with you. I think last year you and I did something silly. The first year we were in town, I think I did like 130 songs in a year. I don't think that's crazy.
We were writing, like, what we were doing when we first started writing together, we were finishing every song in our writing.
And I'm glad we did that.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. Yeah,
because now I went, as I said, I went through that phase of not finishing songs, and then you've got these like half fucking notes in your phone or on Google Docs, and I'm like, what's the point? You've wasted a hook.
And I definitely think there's a lot of value to that.
Totally.
Yeah.
But actually,
and that also to say, like, that's one of the things I really appreciated about you as a writer, was that you wanted to get it done that day.
Well, because it's like a song that your next single, right? How many mixes did you take before you thought it was the right one? You revised it, you revise everything.
Cut drums twice, cut vocals 6 times.
Yeah,
cut.
that's great, but I think I could do that vocal better, or try this level louder. All these different things. Yeah. Why can't we do that with lyrics? So I think for me, get it done. Send it out to some friends, whatever. But back to the point was. We write so much in this town. As I said, that first year I did 120, 130 songs, and I've still not hit that. And I don't think I'll probably do that this year. I've got a busier schedule. But my dad and I sat down the other day. We're talking on the phone. He was in an airport and gave me a call, and he's like, "What are you gonna do after your next single?" And I said, "I don't really think that far yet. I'm just kind of going with the flow." And he goes, "You and your circle and the other people out with your circle that you've written with, you guys are writing great songs that a lot of people won't hear." So he gave me this idea, and I'm just throwing it out there right now. A few guys, we've all written songs together.
Let's fucking create a business right now.
I know.
You're going to proposition me right now.
Yeah, let's do it.
Patent pending.
On the fucking podcast.
But it was actually quite a smart idea. It was like, he's like, you've got, let's say you call it a 6-song EP, and you take your 6 best songs that aren't going to get cut by a bigger artist because they're all independent writers, right? And I get it, you want to hold on to some because there's a chance that you get picked up and there's a Schedule A that the company wants. Yeah. But the songs that you feel like you've always wanted to cut but you've not had the chance yet, he says, why don't you get one of the co-writers or 2 of the co-writers or the people that wrote it with you, record it and have them sing on it with you. So you get double the promotion for each of those songs. And also you're just getting to preach those songs that, there's songs that I like. I'm not saying I'm not like self-obsessed freak, but like I listen to.
2 of us, we've probably got like 50 to 100 songs.
Oh, easy.
2 of us, man.
Easy, man.
Yeah.
And like,
and I've got like 3 that I could add to that.
Exactly. Well, but we've known each other 3 times as long as we've known each other,
Yeah.
No, that's cool. That's cool. You guys do that.
But there's no, you're obviously part of it. But for me, like, there's songs that I listen to that I've been a part of that I've not listened to in a while, and I'm not an emotional person at all. But when it comes to music, I like bawl my eyes out. So like, I remember the other week there, I pulled up my catalogue. I sometimes do this thing where I just like scroll the mouse and like see where it lands.
Yeah.
There's like 600 songs or 700 songs in there over since I started writing. And I'll play some of these work tapes or demos. And every now and then, I'm not saying often, but every now and then I'll go,
that was a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel it here or you tear up. Yeah. And I'm not saying it's the best, I probably, if I do record certain ones, I might rework them with the people I wrote it with.
Sure.
But I think that would be something so cool that I'm really looking to do maybe this year or next year is 6 songs of the songs that people might never hear. Because think about the songs in this town that people might never hear.
That'd be a great album title right there. Songs that people might never hear.
Songs you won't hear.
Songs you'll never hear.
Songs you'll never hear. What I've slowly learned in this town is if a publisher isn't part of the song, unless you're already tight with like a major label, the chances of you getting a cut with a publisher on an outside song are very slim.
The cut is almost impossible.
Yeah, so for
unless Chris Stapleton somehow wanders into Live Oak and is watching your...
Exactly.
But do you not think that why don't you just cut them?
Well, exactly. Yeah, but yeah, of course, and that's. For me, I'm stood here kind of right now trying to figure out if I want to do it. It was just an idea that my dad had. Yeah. But I think, as I said, it might not be my best 6 songs or our best 6 songs, but it might be songs that had that emotional attachment to them. And I've got a lot of songs like that I know I probably was never going to put out as like a Chris and Richie single, or it's a song that I think is good, but I'm not going to send it to a publisher.
I definitely have some songs that like I've written with people. And specifically, like the instance I brought up earlier about me and Ryan writing that one song, like that was a song that meant a lot to me because it meant a lot to him. and it was what he was going through in that moment, and like stuff like that like really grips you, like, and that's like a song like that's never going to come out, but it still means something to the writers, you know. And I think that's a fun idea to say, like, if we get together on a recording or something like that, and we sing a song together that, you know, like you said, like it might not be our best song, but it's something that means a lot to us. Like maybe it was a rainy day that like me and you got together and we're miserable as fuck, as we usually are, drinking as we usually are, and we write a great song, and we write a song that we like, and like just to be able to put that out there, you know.
Well, look, the best example, when he said that to me, I was like, oh, no one's ever done that. And he turned around to me and goes, my dad's as big of like a Morgan Wallen and Hardy and Ernest fan as I am, and he goes, well, look at Hicks Tape.
Yeah, exactly.
And I said, okay, they've done that on a bigger level.
Yeah.
But what, you know, they know that's not their best songs, but they're still catchy. They've got a good idea behind it. It's well written.
But what if you did do that with like writers around Nashville? You know,
that's what I'm saying.
I mean,
like,
it might be a small time, but still, like, it's an opportunity. You know.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it obviously is you're holding on to that little bit of like intellectual property, right? You know, there's some songs that you know that they've got a chance if it got to across the right desk or got to the right artist. But the chances are, as independents, you're sending songs to publishers. They're like, this guy's great, we're going to sign him, but they want 100% your or they want that 50% of your publishing from the songs that you write from then on out.
Can I ask you this, only to play devil's advocate, but what if you put them out as an artist and they took off? Then everyone's going to trust the rest of your songs.
So I'm saying, so it's a balance. That's something I've really found here is like, you know, I can put out a record for I've got friends that are the producers of my songs and they give me a good rate, and it's not put me out of crazy pocket. You know, the hardest thing nowadays is how much you put into promotion of the song.
Yeah.
But that's the next part.
But in terms of recording them, I could afford to record as many as I wanted to for a period of time, and, you know, save up again and do 10 songs, whatever. You know, you get package deals and people look out for you, but it's just you're holding on to certain songs for a reason. But I don't know if that was something we all agreed on as writers on a song, and I'm saying, hey, I love this song, you know, have you pitched it and nothing came back? Have I pitched it and nothing came back, but we still love it? Then that's maybe a song for the 6-song potential, you know, collaborative EP.
Especially if we're not tied to publishing deals, or if like none of the songs are specifically tied to like artists. If no one's got them on hold, I'm like, just get them cut. Well,
what's the worst that can happen? You get like you get either a demo back of it, or you get a full recording and you don't cut it and it's just sat there. I mean, that's so cool to be able to say, okay, I wrote this and that, they're not out yet.
Yeah,
they could still be pitched.
Yeah.
Well, even better to be pitched as a demo.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, work tapes now can't pitch that.
Yeah,
you can't.
An iPhone recording.
I mean, when I some of my first meetings when I did come here, I was sending them that, and I remember they were like, "Yeah, we're gonna get you writing with this guy who's a track guy and stuff." And you know, I'm so glad that happened. But it's a big learning curve. But that was just something I threw out there. But you're right. There's so many songs that we write. Everyone writes in this town that are never going to be heard.
Yeah.
Are you boys looking into publishing at all?
Well, I mean, we've worked with multiple publishers since we met. Mostly small time publishers around town, and that's definitely you want to meet somebody that you can go into business with, and you know, with a publisher, it's somebody who's going to pitch your songs, somebody who's going to give you a regular writing schedule, that sort of thing. And, but I think the biggest part of that is just finding somebody that wants to be a part of your team. You know, that's a big part of my situation right now, is I'm looking for people to be a part of my team. And, publishing's tough. I mean, there's a lot of small-time publishers right now on Music Row that are trying to come up and trying to make waves, and they're kind of, you know, they share the struggle of a lot of songwriters, I feel like, you know.
Totally. I think touching upon that, like, I was so stoked. I don't know why I said that word, stoked. I was so, like, excited. Can we cut that?
Some 90s
Oh, man, I don't know
lingo.
what happened there. Those whiskeys make me from like fucking California. Eh? But I remember when that deal came through the very first time, I was like, this is amazing. And we sent it to some lawyers and stuff, and it seemed they were like, this is a very like normal deal for Nashville. So I thought I think a big part for me is the team you've got around you. You've got to know that the energy is right, that they have your exact same interests, they have you as their main priority. And I feel like through my experiences of the 2 years I was there, let's just say, they did the bare necessities, and I think looking back, I wrote a lot of good songs, and there wasn't the effort there to push them, just from my experience. And I mean, if it wasn't for that deal, I wouldn't be sat here today doing what I do. And in terms of signing a deal for me now, it's got to be the right deal. I make good money playing live, and I get songs cut independently. I make money from that. So right now, I'm just kind of going where the wind takes me in terms of publishing. If it blows me in a direction where there's a good deal, it does. If it doesn't.
Like, one of the biggest draws to Nashville is just like the sense of community. That's why I stuck around, was because there's so many people around that wanted to see me do well, and I didn't even know like who you were. Like when I met you, man, like I didn't know you didn't know me, but I got the sense that you wanted to see me do well. I wanted to see you do well. Like, you know, and Nashville has that about themselves, you know, and that's really cool. And I think it's like, you just go out there, you do the best that you can, you invest in other people, you invest in the people that you like, and you want to see them do well. And if they do well, you just support them, you know, and you're a cheerleader. And if you do well, they're going to be supporting you, you know, and that's like, it's really cool to be out in like one of the biggest towns in the States right now that's like blowing up. And Nashville is really
like number one right now.
Yeah, it's blowing up right now. But you've got this
Austin.
Yeah, and you've got this community of people that just want to see other people do well, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
You know? So don't drag other people down. Just like,
I mean, of course, there's like fucking shit that goes on here, and I just choose not to.
There's
be part
always
of it.
small town stuff.
But I mean, it's such a small big town. You know what I mean?
It is, man. It is.
But
And it always is. Even if you were in LA, it would still be, you'd still get around the songwriters, and they'd still be you know, catty. And
But I get asked that question a lot. Like, see any like kind of interviews you do on Zoom or whatever you're doing. I get asked that a lot.
This guy's getting interviewed all the time every year.
No, for the new single, there might be a few more of that. But anyone, like for my last single, when I did it, I did a lot of like British interviews from back home, and it was all like, so, I was always an English guy. So, living in Nashville, you know, like he was like, is it really competitive? And I sat there, I said, of course it's competitive, right? Because everyone's trying to be the next, you know, write the next number one, or be the next Morgan Wallen or Luke Combs, or I don't know, whoever. But it's not like cutthroat, right? Okay, the industry in itself, like the deals, you know, you might think you're guaranteed a record deal or a publishing deal that doesn't happen, or they cut you because you say a certain thing. But the songwriting community is such a unique thing, and I think that's, as much as Nashville around it's going to change, as in Broadway becomes Midtown, which becomes Sobro, all becomes one big thing. You know, downtown's going to be massive in 10 years, right? Yeah. That's not going to change the songwriting nature. There's something so cool about it here, and I just feel like, you know,
I hope it stays that way. I think that's really what got me sticking around here. I would not have stayed if not for the community that was built here.
Yeah, I think,
and I still got, like, you know, like me, you, Cole, Brock,
the main
Ryan,
boys.
You know, Callum, we're all hanging out. Like,
the second Scot. How weird is that, though? We've got two Scottish people in our circle.
I remember the first time I met you was I was sitting at Live Oak, and I think I heard you say something or whatever, and I guess you were Scottish.
I was at Live Oak, and you were like, "Oh, what's up?" I met you with Chris the other night, and I was like,
Then we saw the guy get dragged out of Tin Roof.
Yeah, that's right.
Beaten and bloodied.
I was
Ryan Garrett.
Ryan Garrett. Yeah, it was Ryan.
We watched that guy get dragged out and went, let's never go to Tin Roof again. Should we go to Red Door? And we fucking had a great night at Red Door. But yeah. What a fucking fantastic night. The one thing I will say about the group that we've got here is, when I first got to London with like the acting shit, everything was very much like if you ever went into like a casting room, like you're sitting in the corridor before and like there's 5 other dudes that look like you that are about to go in for like an audition, and everyone's kind of looking at each other like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, I'm better than this guy. And everything's so competitive because it's 0.0001% of people will get the job and everyone else gets pied off. I made some friends in London that were all like, one of them was from York, one of them was from Australia, one of them was from South London, I was from Edinburgh, and we were all trying to do the same shit. We kind of formed like a little group of actors that were like, regardless of what happens, even if we're going for the same role, let's like help each other prepare for the role so that when it comes down to it, if anyone's going to get it, if it's not me, I'd rather it was you.
Yeah.
And if it's not you, you would rather it was me type thing. Right. And we kind of created that little circle. And
so they kicked you out and you found us.
And they kicked me right out of there.
So you joined the Degenerates.
Yeah.
No, but we still have that group today within like our little acting community. We still have a group that's like, if like, for example, if I'm up for a job and they offer me the job and I've got another acting job on, I'll put one of those guys forward and say,
that's awesome, man.
Like one of these guys can fill my place. And I went to Austin in between acting and music and that kind of transition into doing both. And in Austin, I love Austin, great city, but like it was either people just wanted to drink fucking PBRs and get fucked up all day, or they were like very closed off. Yeah.
Does that look familiar?
Or they were just very fucking closed off and they don't want anything to do with you. If you're successful, that means you're taking their place.
Yeah.
As soon as I came to Nashville, it was like, we're all doing the same shit. Let's form like a...
Well, I can say
an allegiance.
Like a gang. A clan,
fit in,
if you will.
A Scotch clan.
A clan.
Well, you fit in really good with the culture, man. Like, you're one of those people that, especially transitioning from, you've got a fruitful career in acting and pour yourself to some tequila therapy over there.
I'm just going to make sure that we can cheers.
And then you're coming over to the music side of things, but you've been really humble about it. And, and same for Chris here.
Cheers, brother.
So,
I mean,
Chris came over from the Glasgow soccer side of things, where he was a huge name. Celtic under 14s.
Tell you what, I could skid myself. I was that good. But no, John, I know we're not getting all soppy here, but
honestly, I love you cunts.
I know, I love you
and I'm
too.
so glad.
Can we put that on? Can we put that on?
100% staying on.
I know. We're Scottish. It's not offensive over there. But no, you've you guys, especially in our circle, being outsiders, it's very nice to have people welcome you in, and I think because of that, other people talk to us as well. They're like, oh, those guys know all these American guys, and we're obviously outgoing people ourselves, but it's been a really beneficial thing. I'm not saying our relationship is transactional or anything, but it's been a very beneficial relationship for everyone involved, and I love that, and I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah,
I think we've got a good crowd. Cheers. Should we wrap it up there?
Maybe we should wrap it up. I don't know. I've got to go and play at 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I know. I'm looking at the time. I'm like, Chris is on stage in 14 minutes.
14 minutes. It's like, right, we'll do another 4 shots. No,
all right. Love you, boys.
Cheers, guys.
Love y'all.
Love you. Cheers.
Cheers.